the next session of strength of materials. In this session, I am going to solve the next numerical of shear force and bending moment diagram. Let's get started. A beam ABCDE, length 6 meter, is hinge supported at A and roller supported at E. The beam is loaded as shown in the figure. Draw the SFD, BMD and AFD. In this question, we have another extra term which we have to calculate, that is AFD. Now, if you look at the figure, AFD comes into picture when there are horizontal forces. AFD stands for axial force diagram. So, first thing that I'll do is I'm going to draw the FBD for this load diagram given. So, this is my load diagram. I'll start with the FBD. At point A, since it is hinged, I'm going to draw one reaction VA. At E it is roller, so I'll draw VE. At A also there will be HA coming into picture. I will draw the direction towards the right. Later on, if I get a negative answer, obviously the direction is going to change. At point B, there is an inclined force. So this I am going to resolve as 4 cos theta and 4 sin theta. So the force along the angle forms 4 cos 30 and in the vertical direction it will be 4 sin 30. This is point B. At point C, again there is an inclined load, so along the angle it will be 6 cos 45 and perpendicular will be 6 sin 45. At point D, again there will be 8 cos 60 and 8 sin 60. This is point D. I mark the distance as 1 meter, 1.5 meter, 2 meter and 1.5 meter. I'll just calculate the values. 4 cos 30 is 3.46 kilonewton. 4 sin 30 is 2 kilonewton. 6 sin 45 is 4.24 kilonewton and 6 cos 45 is also 4.24 kilonewton. 8 cos 60 is 4 kilonewton and 8 sin 60 is 6.92 kilonewton. So I have written down all the values. Now the first thing that I am going to do here is I am going to calculate the value of VA, VE and HA. So I'll start with summation of force in y direction is 0. Upward force will be positive. So VA is going upwards. Then I have minus 2 downwards. I have minus 4.24 downwards and I have minus 6.92 downwards and VE is upwards is equal to 0. So therefore I get VA plus VE is equal to 13.16. For the next equation, I'll take summation of moment about A is equal to 0. I'll assume clockwise direction as positive. So about A, first I'll turn 2 kilonewton, which is going to turn clockwise. So I'll have 2 into 1. 6 sin 45, which is 4.24, is also turning clockwise. So I'll have plus 4.24 into 2.5. Next I have 6.92, which is also turning clockwise by a distance of 4.5. And last I have VE, which is turning anti-clockwise. So it is VE into 6 equal to 0. From this equation I get the value of VE as 7.3 kilonewton. When I substitute the value of VE in equation 1, I get VA as 5.8 kilonewton. So these are the values that I have obtained for VE and VA. Next I'll calculate the value of HA as well. So for this I am going to take summation of force along x-axis is equal to 0. I will be considering any force going towards the right as positive. So I have HA going rightwards plus 3.46. I have minus 4.24 because it is going towards the left. Then I have plus 4 is equal to 0. From here I get the value of HA as minus 3.22 kilonewton. Minus 3.22 says that my direction is towards the right. So if I want to get the value towards the left, it will be plus 3.22 kilonewton towards the left. So here my direction is to be changed. So I'll just enter the values here. VA is 5.8 kilonewton. VE is 7.3 kilonewton. HA, the direction needs to be changed. So here I'll change the direction and I'll write the value is 3.22 kilonewton. If you want, you can leave it to rightward direction and leave it as negative, but I will change the direction and I'll write this 3.22 kilonewton. Now next I'll start with my SF calculations. I will take the sign convention. Any force to the left of the section going upwards will be considered as positive shear force. So I'll start with point A. When I stand at A and I look to the left, there is no vertical force. So the shear force to the left of A is 0. Shear force to the right of A, for that I'll stand to the right of A, and now VA becomes very much clear to me. So the value is 5.8 kilonewton. It is going upwards, so it is positive. When I stand at B and I look to the left, again I see only VA, so I'll write down it is equal to shear force to the left of B. For shear force to the right of B, I'll stand a little ahead of B, and now this downward force also becomes clear. So I have 5.8 upwards and I have minus 2 downwards, so it becomes 3.8 kilonewton. When I stand at C and look to the left, I get the same value. So I'll write down it is equal to the shear force to the left of C. For shear force to the right of C, I'll stand a little ahead. I can see VA, I can see minus 2, and I can also see minus 4.24. So I'll write down shear force to the right of C is 5.8 minus 2 minus 4.24. I get the value as minus 0.44 kilonewton. Now when I stand at D and I look to the left, again I get the same values. So I will take shear force to the left of D is equal to shear force to the right of C. Next I'll calculate shear force to the right of D. When I stand ahead of D, I can see VA minus 2, minus 4.2 and minus 6.9. I get the answer as minus 7.36 kilonewton. Now this will be equal to shear force to the left of E, and when I stand to the right of E, I should get the value as 0. So when I am at the right, I can see all the vertical forces. So I get 5.8 minus 2 minus 4.24 minus 6.9 and plus 7.3. So I get the value as minus 0.06 kilonewton, which is approximately equal to 0. So I start at 0, I end at 0. My shear force calculation is correct. Now I can draw the diagram. Now first I'll start again by drawing the axis and I'll analyze the value. I have positive 5.8, 3.8, I have minus 0.4, minus 7.3 and minus 0.06. So I have a good distribution of values above and below the neutral line. So I'll draw my neutral line somewhere at the center. This is my SFD diagram in kilonewton. I'll start with A, B, C, D and E. First value for the left of A is 0. The value for right of A is 5.8. So I'll write here 5.8. The value for left of B is again 5.8. For right of B, the value is 3.8. So it is on the same line, little below. The value to the left of C is also 3.8. The value to the right of C is minus 0.44. The value to the left of D is again minus 0.44. The value to the right of D is minus 7.36. So I'll draw it a little below. And the value to the left of E is again minus 7.36, and at right of E is 0. So here is my value. Now I'll join these points. I'll start with left of A, right of A, then I'll join left of B and right of B, then I'll go to left of C, right of C, left of D, right of D, it falls down, then it goes to left of E and right of E. Now this values above will be positive shear force and values below will be negative shear force. So I'll just draw the hatching line now. So this is my shear force diagram. Next I'll go for bending moment calculations. To the left of section I see any moment going clockwise, I will consider it as positive bending moment, and this sign convention is to be used when you go from right to left on the beam. On any point on the beam I cannot see a bending moment, so there will be a bending moment calculation only once on every point. I'll start with A. Bending moment at A will be 0 because when I stand at A and I look to the left there is no force turning, so this is 0. Bending moment at B, when I stand at B and I look to the left I can see VA turning clockwise, so I'll have 5.8 into 1, so this will be 5.8 kilonewton meter. Next I'll calculate the bending moment at C. When I stand at C I can see VA turning clockwise and 2 kilonewton turning anti-clockwise, so this will be 5.8 into 2.5 minus 2 into 1.5. I get the value as 11.5 kilonewton meter. Next I'll calculate the bending moment at D. When I stand at D, VA turns clockwise, 2 kilonewton turns anti-clockwise, 4.2 also turns anti-clockwise. So I'll have 5.8 into 4.5. I have minus 2 into 3.5 and I have minus 4.24 into 2. I get the answer as 10.62 kilonewton meter. Last, I'll calculate the bending moment at point E. This is most important because here I should get the value as 0. So when I stand at E and I look to the left, I see VA turning clockwise, 2 turning anti-clockwise, 4.24 kilonewton turning anti-clockwise and 6.92 also turning anti-clockwise. So I will write down 5.8 into 6 minus 2 into 5 minus 4.24 into 3.5 and I have minus 6.92 into 1.5. I get the answer as minus 0.42 kilonewton, which is approximately equal to 0. So I start at 0, I end at 0. It is very important to check this. My answers are correct, I can plot them. Now I need to keep some space for AFD as well. So when I see here, I'll see that all the bending moments are positive. So at a particular distance here, I'll just draw my line. This is my bending moment diagram, which will be in kilonewton meter. The first point is A, then I have B, C, D and E. At point A the value is 0, at point B the value is 5.8, at point C the value is 11.5, at point D the value is 10.6, so I'll take it here, and at E the value is 0. So I'll join them with a straight line. You can either draw freehand or you can take a scale. If you draw freehand, it will be actually faster, but it depends. So I'll just join these points for perfect straight lines, or there could be a confusion in the video that these lines are curved, which it is not. But there is another way which I told you in the first numerical session, that if you have straight lines, what you can do is you can just write down that they are 1 degree lines. So in case they look little curved, you can just mark that they are 1 degree lines, which means they are straight lines. So I'll just join these points, which will indicate the values. Here I'll write down it is positive bending moment, and I'll draw the hatching line. So this is my bending moment diagram. Next, I'll calculate the AFD, which is axial force diagram for this question. Now this question is the one where you can solve an AFD because you have horizontal forces as well. So I'll start with the AFD calculations first. Now, this convention is something which I have not discussed with you, but this is very simple. If you understood the sessions of stress and strain, you will definitely understand that to the sections left, if I see any force, if it is pulling the body, which means it is causing a tensile kind of effect, I would say it is a positive axial force on the body. And if I see that it is going in the push kind of direction, then I would say it is negative. Similarly, if I am solving the sum from right to left and to the sections right, if I see a force going towards the right, it need not be always the direction, it is also the effect that it is creating. So I would just say that this is creating a tensile effect, and here it is creating a compressive type of effect. So we'll start with the point 1. Now, one thing which you need to remember is something which I have told you regarding SF and BM, that when you calculate the shear force at a particular point to the left or right, it is determined based on the presence of a shear force or a moment at that point. For example, at a point, if the shear force is present, I'll calculate twice because it would indicate that there is a change from left to right. Similarly for the moment. Now, for axial force also, if at a point I can see horizontal force, only then I would calculate the axial force twice. If it is not present, then I would calculate the axial force only once. For example, at A, B, C, D, I'll calculate the axial force twice, left and right. For E, I'll just calculate once because there's no axial force at this point. So there is no point in calculating twice. It would have the same value for left and right. So I'll start with left of A. When I stand at A and I look to the left, this is very important. HA is not visible when you are standing on A or you are standing to the left of A. It is visible only when you see the point A very clearly. That can happen only when I am standing ahead of A. It cannot happen when I am standing on or behind A. Please understand. So I am standing at A and I look to the left, there is no force here. So shear force to the left of A is 0. Then I'll calculate the shear force to the right of A. For that, I'll walk a little ahead of A and I look to the left. I can see HA very clearly, and this is causing a pull kind of effect on A. Hence, this is positive. So I'll write down 3.22 kilonewton. Next, I'll go to the point B. When I stand at B and I look to the left, I can only see HA. So here I can write down this is equal to axial force to the left of B. Next, I'll calculate the axial force to the right of B. For that, I'll walk little ahead of B and I look to the left. I can now see this force of 3.46 kilonewton very clearly. This 3.46 kilonewton is actually causing a compressive type of effect on the body. Hence, I will take this value as negative. So, I have 3.22. Obviously, this when placed here, if you recollect the principle of superposition, when I place the arrow here, it will be pulling the point B. So it is positive. 3.46 is pushing the point B, compressive effect. So minus 3.46, and the answer is minus 0.24 kilonewton. This will be equal to the axial force to the left of C. I think it is self-explanatory now. For right of C, this force over here becomes very clear, which is 4.24. Now you have to understand that you are walking from left to right. So this force by using principle of superposition, I can lift the force from here and place it like this at C. So actually this 2.42 is not causing a compressive effect, it is causing a pull kind of effect on C. So for the next value, axial force to the right of C will be 3.22 minus 3.46 plus 4.24, which will be 4 kilonewton. Now this will be equal to the axial force to the left of D. Then I'll calculate axial force to the right of D. When I stand ahead of D and I look to the left, I can see 3.22 if placed here causing tensile effect, 3.46 if placed here causing a compressive effect, 2.42 when I place it here, it will be pulling the body, so it is positive, and this 4 kilonewton at this point is actually pushing the body. So I can write down this is 3.22 minus 3.46 plus 4.24 minus 4 is equal to 0. Now this will be equal to the axial force at E. There is no value of axial force at E. Obviously the graph should have closed here, but obviously it will extend up to point E because you cannot miss out on any point. So when I stand at E, again I am seeing all the values, and this is what I get as axial force at E. This is not left, not right, because even if you take left, right, you will still get it as 0, but it will not change because at that point there is no axial force to cause a change. So this is how you calculate the axial force for this beam. Now we will plot it. If you look at these values, I have a positive, negative, positive. So I'll start plotting them. I have higher positive values than negative values. So I'll draw the graph somewhere here. This is AFD. The unit is kilonewton. This is point A, this is point B, point C, D and E. Again, this line is for the axial force for the particular points. At A, the value is 0 for the left of A. Right of A, the value is 3.22. It is equal to the value for left of B, so 3.22. Right of B, the value is minus 0.24. This is equal to the value at left of C, minus 0.24. At right of C, the value is 4 kilonewton, which is equal to the value of left of D. Right of D, the value is 0, and at E, the value is 0. I'll join the points by singing along: left of A, right of A, left of B, right of B. I have left of C, right of C. Then I have left of D, this is 4, right of D and only E. So this is positive axial force, this is negative axial force, positive axial force, and this is 0. So I'll just draw the hatching line now. So this is how the sum is supposed to be solved. This is the SFD, PMD and AFD for the question that is given to me. So I hope you have understood this numerical. If you have any doubt, write to me in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon for latest updates of my videos. See you in the next session. Thank you.